What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Sports Talk on Tap podcast. We're here. You can find daily videos Monday through Friday covering all the four major sports leagues, whether that be NHL, MLB, NBA, or NFL. And in today, it's only fair we start off with the most important event last night, probably most important event for the NBA up until free agency, but that's in a couple days. The most important event since the Celtics won the championship, which surprisingly has already been like over a week ago. But with that being said, Nick, it was a good draft, very interesting one. It was regarded as, not really top-heavy talent, but like a lot of players that could, fit into good role players or stuff like that. So it was really important for teams to hit on their picks. Was kind of due for a surprise here. Most people were expecting the Hawks to take Alex Sarr or Donovan Clingan, in my opinion, was their pick if they want to go like center. But they go, I can't even pronounce it right, and I don't want to mispronounce it, but like Zachariah Rozier, a Frenchman. So two French first overall picks back to back. That was an interesting pick, but it was reported that Alex Sarr really wanted to go to Washington, and Washington really wanted him. So I mean, take that with what you will. I think that's definitely part of the reason why that happened. But, overall, though, it's going to be interesting to see how he fits. Atlanta Hawks do get something in that front court to help because obviously in their backcourt, as of right now, no Trae Young and Devontae Murray trades have happened. They still have them too. So they need some front court help. And they get that here. He's probably going to be a day one starter for them, trying to fit in, I believe. Overall, not really sure how his work out. He obviously has good potential. That's why he went number one. So but only time will tell with that one because I think the Wizards in Alex Sarr, I think that's going to be a great fit. And the Wizards also likewise get someone in their front court. They trade away Denny Avia as well. So they're kind of, retooling in that position, which, I'm cool with. You're muted, Nick. You're muted. Sure.
My mistake. Yeah, I kind of stated earlier, like this week, that I don't have the best knowledge just of this draft, just because it wasn't as I don't know, high powered. You probably just said.
Yeah, no, definitely.
At 4, I saw a lot of people saying the Spurs should have taken Rob Dillingham, which is the kid that the Timberwolves ended up trading for. So
yep.
I'm assuming he's a sought-after prospect. I still think Stephon Castle, I know he went to UConn, so he obviously was in a really good program. So I think that'll work out fine because they already have Wendy. So now they're just kind
of definitely more defensive guard shutdown. People were looking forward to maybe like a possible backcourt of them because Rob is the best scorer in this draft class. He's just a pure bucket, and I think he'll fit great along Anthony Edwards. He is a little bit undersized. So most people are saying if he was like, 6'4", 6'5", he would have gone probably first overall in this draft. Overall, though, yeah, as a Timberwolves fan looking down there, that's just unreal, that pick. And we'll talk about the other one later. Rob is just a great scorer. He's going to be the point guard of the future, him and Ant in the backcourt. Anthony Edwards is a bigger guard. So I think, even if Rob, isn't the best defender just because of his size, I mean, you're funneling him into a defense with Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards. So, Mike Conley isn't the biggest dude, and they still have the number one defense. So I'm not worried. He's just going to be so shifty. And what the Timberwolves were always lacking was when Anthony Edwards wasn't hot, they couldn't have like secondary creation because Karl Anthony Towns kind of just plays off people and really relies heavily on Anthony Edwards. Rob Dillingham is someone that can bring the ball up and just, make life so much easier. I think he's going to be like first man off the bench. And if there's any point guard you want to learn from, and like I'd want to learn from, it'd be Mike Conley, just because of how long he's been around the block. He knows what he's doing. Always been a great passer and a great teammate. So there's no leader I would rather have for Rob to work behind, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
it seems like the Timberwolves are like they have so much depth now because I mean, like you said, you have Mike Conley.
He might be seventh man off the bench because I forgot. He might be seventh man off the bench because I forgot we have Naz Reid, sixth man. So yeah, Timberwolves definitely loaded up with their 2 first rounders on scoring, and to only give up like a 20-20-30 unprotected first rounder and a protected like 2021 31 first rounder.
Mhm.
Those are seventh graders we're talking about. So we don't know. We can't read into the future. And when we look back on this, Timberwolves are going all in to try and win it, and they fixed their weaknesses on offense and that point guard depth, which is what I loved.
Mhm.
I will also give a shout out. Yeah, Stephon Castle, really good. Reed Shepherd, absolute just 3-point sniper for the Rockets. Someone that can just plug and play kind of guy. Ron Holland also has a lot of potential, but once again, we're talking about the Detroit Pistons. So how good can he be? I don't know.
Say a
And
prayer
then
for his
Donovan,
career.
and Donovan Clingan, arguably, I thought could have gone number one.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
just
surprised he fell all the way to
yeah,
7.
Trailblazers got a good one, but that makes me also question Ayton's future with this team. Where's DeAndre Ayton going to go? Because he's probably going to get chopped now because they want to play Donovan Clingan as much as they can. Great shot blocker, can do it all. You can't have two of those guys. I mean, DeAndre Ayton's game is basically Donovan Clingan's. And Donovan Clingan might be a better defender already just because of what he can do with his size and the way he performed in college. So Trailblazers clearly made a move here. I'm curious as the days approach to free agency what trades are made, and I think DeAndre Ayton is in one of them, but only time will tell, I guess. Pick 9, Nick, was also a huge surprise for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, me too, because I don't think he's a top 10 pick at all.
I think the Grizzlies really wanted Clingan, and then they ended up settling for Edey. I think you could have traded back at least or something to recruit a second
Yeah, they
rounder. I don't
definitely
know
could have.
why. I don't know why you reach here. Don't know about that. Zach Edey. I don't know. The spacing on this team is going to be very questionable, in my opinion. You have Zach Edey, who obviously can't shoot, which is fine. You can have one person that can't shoot. Jaren Jackson, though, if they're going to move Jaren Jackson back to power forward, he's like a 33 to 35% 3-point shooter. That's like the reason why like it works so good for the Timberwolves is Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert is because Karl Anthony Towns is like a 43% 3-point shooter. And but Jaren Jackson, he'll have to, if he can consistently make that 3-point jump shot, this defense could be scary and this offense could be decent. But also, John Morant doesn't shoot the 3 ball that much and not at an efficient rate. He's a much more of an attacker. And I mean, you have Desmond Bane who can shoot really well, but I mean, that the spacing is going to be questionable for me. I'm not 100% sure on the fit. I don't know how Zach Edey's offensive game will translate at all in the NBA in the post-ups. But like I said, only time will tell. But that's a very interesting pick and one that I'm definitely going to keep an eye out on just because of the intrigue with that. Because most people were thinking Zach Edey might go to the Celtics.
No, I don't think the Celtics would have taken him. Maybe they're trying to go like the, Dallas Mavericks pick and roll style. I know the Mavericks still do shoot a lot of threes, but, they kind of get their big men involved down low. So maybe they're trying to go that style. But, yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Zach Edey fan. I didn't really think he was like a top half first-round pick, let alone a lottery pick. Or, I mean, that's what a lottery pick is, but like a top 10 pick, I did not think he was that. So I was kind of surprised, but with it being sort of a weaker draft and him being one of the better players in college basketball these past few years, then it's, he's going to climb up the boards when he's putting together really good numbers.
Yeah.
In college, even though he's like, 7'4", like 300 pounds. So there's really nobody that can guard him in college.
I agree. Then next, I would say Matthias Buzelis was one of the more underrated prospects, and a lot of people had him higher on their board. So the Bulls, I think, got a nice steal there, falling right in. You can tell he's passionate about winning, and that'll bring it's a culture change in Chicago right now. I'm still expecting a DeRozan trade, a Levine trade. It's going to be Chicago's going through changes right now, and that was a great pickup there because I think he's going to turn out really good. And then an interesting pick here for the Thunder, who get Nikola Topic. He has a torn ACL, partially torn, so I don't know how long he's out for. He might be out for a while. And with that, that's just so I think he's out for the season, if I'm mistaken. So I mean that's fine because it's just year one. But the Thunder drafted a player that coincidentally, everyone is saying is similar to Josh Giddey. Can pass, I guess, but can't really shoot, can't play defense. So what the hell was the point of this pick? I thought you wanted to someone that could help fit in because it was clear a player like Josh Giddey just didn't fit in with this team. So now they draft a guy that's like similar to Josh Giddey's game. I have some question marks, but you know what? OKC, let's see what they can develop because Mark Downow's a great coach, and I'll just let him cook, I guess. I don't know what your thoughts were on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know much about him, but I mean, with how OKC's been developing all their players, like I won't, make any judgment calls until, like you said, you're not making any judgments for trades until 2 years later. So I won't make any judgments on draft picks, especially for OKC. Like they're a team that if I trust anybody to hit on a draft pick or not have to worry about a draft pick, it's OKC just because of how many they have. So if they don't hit on this guy, it's not like the end of the world for them.
Yeah. And then Devin Carter, I think is going to be a good player for Sacramento. Bub Carrington. Khalil Ware that the Heat drafted was an interesting prospect. A lot of people had him as a sleeper pick. So that'll be interesting with Coach Spoelstra. How can he develop him? I think that might work out well, but only time will tell with that. And then we also got moving into like the second half of the board, Jared McCain, Duke point guard, famous TikToker, goes to Philadelphia. I'm curious about this one because he's a little bit undersized. Him and Tyrese Maxey as a backcourt, that's a lot of offense, no defense. So who knows? But Jared McCain is a little bit undersized. But, if they can make it work, that could be one of the best potential backcourts for offensive-wise in this game. So Sixers get him, which I thought was interesting. And then one of the best steals, Dalton Knecht falling to the Lakers. Nick, I know you said you're not big on college basketball, but if you watch any college hoops, it was probably this guy just because he was.
Yeah, I do know who he is. I know he won like SEC Player of the Year, all that stuff. Like he
second in National Player of the Year voting. Just the most pure bucket I saw. Really just transitioned his game. He went from like a D2 school, transferred, and won. Like he was arguably the most improved college basketball player this past season. And even though he's on the older side, only 23, his game will translate really well to the NBA. Can just be an automatic player off the bench for the Lakers, which is what they need right now with LeBron and AD. They need real contributors, not like, prospects for down the line. So I love that one.
Is the reason he fell just his age? Like
that's what people are speculating.
That's weird.
Yeah, and he's only like 23, so I think he's turning 24 in September. Or that might be another prospect. A lot of these prospects were a little bit older, which is why I think a lot of people bashed it. But either way, if you're getting a solid 10 points per game out of Dalton off the bench, you'll take that. And he's got length, so he can be really good. So Tristan de Silva to the Magic, I didn't mind that. Jacoby Walter out of Baylor, really interesting player, could be a good scorer in the Magic, and the Raptors pretty much need all the scoring help they can get. They're going to re-sign Scotty Barnes to his rookie max extension, which will be good. So it's a new change of scenery in Toronto for sure. And then moving down a couple spots, Deron Holmes, Nuggets. So they're looking for a backup center. It looks like they're out of Dayton. I think he'll be really good. Just because that was a problem with the Nuggets we saw in the playoffs. Nick, you remember just the depth issue going to the bench. They didn't have any really scoring power. You were relying on Christian Brown and Justin Holiday. And Justin Holiday, to his credit, was making some threes, but that it wasn't sustainable, the percentage he was shooting them at. So you get a legitimate scorer off the bench. That'll be good. The Bucks AJ Johnson pick, I'm kind of confused by. Didn't really know much about that. And then moving down a couple spots to a guy that I think will fit in well with my team, Terrence Shannon Jr. out of Illinois. 23 points per game, just an absolute scorer, 6'6". He's on the bigger side, so can play some defense. I think he'll also be an instant contributor off the bench. You get a scoring wing depth to replace someone like Kyle Anderson. I'm not mad at that because Kyle Anderson really struggled on the offensive end. This dude will just be more of a pure bucket, and I think a scorer. So I don't think we re-sign Kyle Anderson after this because he's like a small forward. Can replace Kyle Anderson, was handling the ball a lot of Illinois. could do a lot of stuff Kyle Anderson did, but just score better. Probably not play as good of defense as Kyle Anderson, but the Timberwolves need offense more so than anything. They were 17th, and they adjust that with Rob and Terrence Shannon. And then Isaiah Collier later on goes all the way down to pick 29 after being projected number 1 just about a year ago. So he's got all the potential in the world, but it was kind of a crazy year at USC where things didn't work out. And then last pick, Nick, I'm going to give the Celtics credit here. This was a guy I wanted the Timberwolves to take at 27. I'm happy with Terrence Shannon, but Baylor Scheierman is an absolute bucket. Just can score at all 3 levels. Has some weaknesses like on defense and stuff, but I just saw like someone say basically on Twitter, he's a better version of Sam Hauser.
Yeah. I was looking at, I saw like his highlights and then was looking at his stats over the years, and I know, he can shoot the 3 well. He's like close to a 40% 3-point shooter. He's
unreal,
better.
Dude. I wanted.
And he gets boards too. He was averaging I think 9 rebounds a game for Creighton. So, and I know he's 6'6", so he's on the bigger side. It's not like we got a small guy who can't defend. So I mean, it plays right into what the Celtics want. 3-point shooters, hustle guys. So if he can, if he can shoot like 40% off the bench and give us 8 points a game, if he's like playing this year, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah. And then, do you have any main winners or losers, coming out of round 1? And I also want to give a quick, round 2 will be today. A couple key players I'm looking for. We'll talk about tomorrow. Jamal Shed out of Houston. Obviously, Bronny James as a prospect. Where does he fall?
I was surprised he didn't get picked. I know he's not good enough to be in the first round, but just the fact that some of these
I am too a little.
There's some dumb GMs that would think if they took him, they'd get LeBron too, and all that.
There was the rumor the Phoenix Suns might have taken him, but they took Ryan Dunn instead out of Virginia, a more defensive guy like Bronny, but they ended up going Ryan Dunn. And then also Johnny Furphy, another guy out of Kansas. The Timberwolves have pick 37, so they have a couple slots coming up, so I'll be interested in who they do there. But Nick, round 1 results obviously, and do you have any main takeaways on winners or losers real quick while we wrap this up?
Yeah. Winners, I would definitely say the Timberwolves were winners. I thought they'd got 2 really good picks. I did know, like I said, I don't know college or as many college players, but I did know Terrence Shannon Jr. and he was like a bucket in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
So that's
and
that's
I don't
like,
and I don't want to get political, but I think part of the reason why he fell was with that case that ended up being found not guilty, and I think that played a huge part into it, unfortunately. But that's just the way life is.
As long as it's behind, don't be getting.
I think it'll be behind
people. But I think the Timberwolves are winners. I do think the Spurs are winners. I think Stephon Castle is going to work really well with Wemby. I might sound biased. I think the Celtics are winners. I think they got a good guy at 30 for just seeing all the numbers he put up. Who knows? Maybe he has a disaster, career. Knock on wood. I hope he doesn't. I hope he, pans out well. But those are, my, just unbiased takeaways from the first. I would say a loser is the Grizzlies. I think they absolutely reached on Zach Edey.
I think you could have traded down.
And I was honestly kind of surprised to see either Detroit or Charlotte not take Donovan Clingan after he fell that far.
Ron Holland, though, could be a really good prospect. I think that could be a sneaky best player in the draft. I do agree with your winners, though. Obviously, I'm going to put my Timberwolves up there, but I really thought we did win, not even a bias pick. Because it's a draft.
Like you said, when you're giving up, 20, 31 first-round picks, guys that, you don't even know how the Timberwolves are going to look in 8 years. So you want to win.
And these are guys that can help you contribute right now. Fix your offense that ultimately, and even without them, you made it to the Western Conference Finals. And if one bounce goes your way and Luka maybe doesn't hit that game-winning shot, you're going to the finals. So it's you got to just take advantage of your weaknesses while you can, attack them, and I think they did. I also want to give you credit for the Celtics. I thought Baylor was a really good pick there. I love that value. I also like the Lakers pick, Kennett. I do agree with the Grizzlies. I thought they could have traded back or something. And the Thunder, I think, are also a loser. I don't know. I think I would I don't know why you draft someone that is similar to Josh Giddey's game. And then the Spurs, I think, really made a good pick in Stephon Castle, but I also don't know why you trade away Rob Dillingham. That could be your instant starter point guard when and you want to build around Wembanyama now, and you go for a pick that's 6-7 years down the road. That doesn't make too much sense for me. So I can't put them in winner, but I'll put them in a really smart, really dumb trade.
I mean, maybe they're trying to get, maybe they're trying to pick up like draft stock for like maybe 3 years from now when that draft pick starts to become more valuable. Maybe
they're getting all these picks for KD. Who knows?
Right, like seemingly half the teams in the league have done.
Yeah. So overall, great round 1. We'll be here to recap round 2 tomorrow. But make sure always to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. We also have free agency coming up in a couple days, so it's going to be really exciting. But with that being said, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.